Welcome. This is Ramana Anam Raju. I'm the host. That is the national anthem for American national anthem. She was singing for 4 presidents, including the present president. She was a national official national anthem singer. Mary Melbourne, good friend of mine. And, you need to come back, Mary. Don't take breaks. We need you. Okay. So she's very close to India also. She did a Janaganamana Indian national anthem. Very beautiful. That's you got to listen to you got to listen to you got to listen on the YouTube. She did an Indian national anthem. My guest is Dr. Diana Thomas. She's a PhD, Indian diaspora. Her parents are from India. She is she's a mathematician. She's a professor. Can you believe this? She's a professor in the West Point Military Academy. She teaches mathematics in the West Point. She's a professor there. She's a prolific researcher in the AI. My channel is a healthcare channel. Why I'm bringing her, you will know very soon. Why I brought her. Dr. Eric Topol is a renowned cardiologist. He made a column in the New York Times saying that the health metrics, BMI, body mass index, that's what they call. This is a very standard way of measuring the health of the body. It's called body mass index, they call. American obesity is epidemic here. 43% of obese patients, 43% of the total population, almost are obese in this country by definition, by medical definition. But Body Round Index has a new kind of a metric. This one of the professors that involved here with the upcoming guest to come up with this new metric for the health, assess the health of a patient. It's called a Body Round Index. Is that bumped into 48%? Almost every second person is obese according to the medical definition. This is a much more better metric than body mass index. Body Round Index is a very different. Body mass index is just a simple division, but Body Round Index is a much more calculable formula. So our guest came back with one of these formulas. Actually, I'm going to introduce you. Dr. Diana Thomas came up with this Body Round Index. So it's a revolutionary metric in the assess the health of the patients. Let me bring Dr. Diana Thomas. She is a prolific researcher in the AI. She got the grant from. She is doing a lot of research in the obesity and the nutrition dietary habits of the people. Now she's involved in all of us research NIH funded program, $140 million program. She's involved. She running the AI nutrition side of it. Welcome back, Diana Thomas. It is a very, you've been before on my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. Let me ask you, welcome to the MedBricks, let me ask you a question. We have a long stereotyping about women in mathematics, so, particularly they say it's harder for women, harder is not attuned for. How did you cross that barrier? Though you brought up an Indian home at your household, you have a lot of exposure to mathematics. So tell us a little bit about your mathematical journey to a PhD in mathematics.
So I grew up in Glendive, Montana. So this is eastern Montana. It's not a very highly populated place. And the people I grew up with, many of the girls worked side by side with the boys on ranches and farms. And so we never were told, I don't recall ever being told that these are girls' things and these are boys' things. And my parents never said, hats off to my parents. They never said these are boys' things and these are girls' things. My dad had 5 girls in the family and 1 boy, and he really treated us and expected the same from all of us. And so that was how I grew up. I never knew that there was anything different between a boy and a girl, and they're supposed to do different things. Then when I came to college, my first professor was a female professor. She was actually, if not the first Black female PhD in math, she was one of the first for sure. So this was my first role model at University of Montana. And there I never knew anything was different for boys and girls. My first teacher was a PhD in math. And so then when I went to graduate school, by that time, the one thing about mathematicians is about math, you're just one of the club. They don't look at you. I never felt anyone looked at me and said, you don't belong here. As long as you can do math, you're part of the gang. And so the math community themselves, I believe, are very one-sided in this. There are, instead of a discrimination against a woman, there's mathematicians and non-mathematicians. Those are the two groups of people. So
hats off to your father. Hats off to your father and mother. Doing that. Instilling. My daughter is a statistician. She went to she got a degree in statistics. That's like really inspiring. But you broke a lot of stereotypes. Another one is you from a traditional Indian family to all the way to military war. You went to the U.S. Army side. How did you that is a bigger step actually. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
So, contrary to popular belief, we have a lot of mathematicians in the United States. So when I graduated in 1996, a long time ago, from Georgia Tech, I applied for different colleges, and you got to put yourself in that back in the 1996 timeframe. The internet was just starting.
Beginning.
We were just starting to do online applications and mass applications to places. So I applied to 90 some jobs. And one of them, I met with then Colonel Chris Arney at the joint math meetings. They were recruiting for new professors at West Point. So civilian professors were just starting to be a thing at West Point, because I think Congress mandated by the year 2000 that 25% of the institution be civilian professors. And this was for a large range of things to bring some of the disciplinary depth to the institution. So West Point started these 3-year positions back then, postdocs. And I had one interview. It was with Colonel Chris Arney at the joint math meetings in Florida. And I told my mom later, I think I have this job. And lucky for me, I did have the job. It was not a, they don't hire, we had postdocs only back then. And then there were some senior civilian professors. I came to West Point at 27 years old. I was one of these young people that were just on a 3-year rotation postdoc. And I was blessed that in 2016, they asked me if I would come back as a senior person. But in between that time, I was at other colleges. West Point just called me back. So
But by the way, I was in Atlanta in 1996. I had office not that far from Georgia Tech, on a Peachtree Street. I had third and Peachtree Street. I had my office. It's not too far from there. Yeah. So
I will say
I'm
this
from.
about I will say this about West Point though, and we it's great we connected now, and we were just side by side back then. But my son went to West Point. He graduated in 2022. So our family is Colonel Arney started off our whole marriage with West Point. So
Congratulations. That is a big proud moment for you.
yes.
um the reason you are, my channel is a healthcare channel. Everybody's wondering why I brought you here. They may be wondering, but the reason is, nowadays I tell you that you introduced a very revolutionary concept. Is called body round index, roundness index, or body round index. I don't know, roundness index probably. What is the difference between the body mass index and the body roundness index? Can you explain that? And what is that differences really? You paid attention that why you got this idea of BRI.
So I think I mentioned this on the last time I was on here, but body mass index, you can actually explain why you would take weight and divide by height squared in terms of geometry. And the piece about that is that we're considering the human body as a cylinder. And if you remember from high school, the volume of a cylinder is height pi r squared h. So the r squared is really kind of where the h squared, so you can kind of picture a square type of thing coming from one of the dimensions on the body, relates it to the volume of a cylinder. Now, when I look at my body, for example, it doesn't look like a cylinder. It has some like roundness to it. And so I'm more elliptical, I would say. And so I began to think of the human body as an ellipse. And instead of using, so the major axis of the ellipse would be the height, and the minor axis would be the diameter or the major axis of the around the waist. And so you can take those two and it's really an ellipsoid around the person. And with ellipses, we have measurements of that come from celestial mechanics. Kepler actually used eccentricity to talk about how circular a ellipse is. So an ellipse could be thought of as being closer to being a circle. So this square root business that you see in the Body Roundness Index, this comes from eccentricity. The other numbers really are just making them more palatable to the human mind, so that they're not numbers between 0 and 1. Eccentricity is between 0 and 1. The closer that number is to 1, the closer you are to being a straight line, more like a volume of an ellipse. The closer that number is to 0, the more circular you are.
So I just put a formula on the street. Is it same formula that you did? You're different,
Yes.
same formula, right? So
Yes.
it is like a complex, little bit complex formula. It's not that straightforward for people with particularly doctors watching it. I think B.R.I. is one of the things that I talk about, that where B.R.I. classification is important is sometimes even athletes like there's Ilana Mar. She was a rugby player, the national US rugby player. She was classified as obese. Actually, B.R.I. says that is normal. So even a classification sometimes. So BMI missing some targets. Good people you put in the bad side, good people, bad side, a good side. So there is a big, actually it is increasing the obesity definition for 43% to 48% BRI. So BRI is a new metric. You started it. Dr. Eric Topol was talking about in the New York Times about you, that he introduced this Body Roundness Index. Do you agree with that? That index is the very key in that sense?
So I want to first say that index was not just me. I worked with Courtney Peterson. She's at Harvard right now. Her degree was in physics, actually. So her and I talked a lot about this. Steve Heimsfield was on this paper. My friend Annie McDougall from statistician from Montclair was on this paper. So there was a lot of folks on the paper, but Courtney and I talked about it quite a bit in the hallways and stuff at Pennington Biomedical when I used to visit. And one of the things that I think we both would agree on is that you want to use all the information in front of you. So BMI can misclassify people, like the picture of the athlete that you have. And I think we always think, oh, BMI will misclassify an athlete as classifying them with obesity when they are not really having obesity, and you can tell by the eyes. But I think what also, as you alluded to, BMI can misclassify someone as being healthy when they're not.
Yes.
And so
that is a bigger problem.
So you can have BRI. Actually, we used BRI in my own family. And so one of my brother-in-laws, his BMI is fine, but his BRI came out of the healthy zone. And so you want to use all the information out in front of you. And I'm not a physician. I'm just the person giving information to a physician. So a physician would actually take all the information and then have a conversation and make a decision of what's best for their patient. So I would use every metric that's in front of me to make a decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a better metric. The initial the diagnosis, doctors immediately jump into BMI and say that they figure out, they make a biased opinion. I think they should consider this BRI as a new metric, and I think they need to go with that. Besides with all the other diagnoses they go through, but I think it is a good idea to start with the BRI itself. That's the adoption is still struggling. I don't think doctors are adopting. I don't see any. I go to a lot of doctors' offices for business, but I don't see a lot of them adopting. I think we need to push that adoption of a BRI adoption. There must be. So I actually added your link in my website. They can go through and click on the link and can use that B.R.I. on my website, medbricks.com. Let me. So obesity. This is the real thing is a metabolic system. We are measuring a healthy body or classifying obesity. What do you think of this? You are now prolific researcher in the AI. Is it AI is doing anything new in the obesity? Let us talk about the nutrition later on, but let us talk about the AI is doing anything in obesity side. Anything it found anything new or finding a new drugs?
So I think in terms of AI, so AI has a lot, it means a lot of things, right?
Yeah,
And we're just, one of my friends says, we're at Act One, Scene One, AI has just stepped in the room. So it's this tool that we're using for many different things. And I'll give you one example where AI is being used in obesity. And I think this is not the only company that's using AI in this way. But one nice thing about something like generative AI is we know that if you can talk to a counselor when you're trying to lose weight, not you will have better results. But for humans, you need a human to be there in front of you, and that means that you need that they can't be there 24/7. But ChatGPT can be there 24/7. So a company like Simple, they help with a weight loss platform. I think they come out of England. I'm not sure, but they are using a Chat GPT like platform for counseling, and
yeah.
and they're shaping that. So when I said AI has just stepped in the room, they're learning how to use it effectively with their customers. But the benefit is that the AI assisted chat program is there 24/7. So you can have conversations with the AI chat GPT element or the generative AI element when you need to. And so that I've seen that as Simple as one company I've seen that in.
So what do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean by just a chat GPT there for obesity side of it? What kind of food? So there is a new kind of things. I'm eating this kind of food. Is it good for my health or not? Or what is that using in the context of obesity?
So when you have a weight loss program, one of the things that helps is frequent check-ins or being able to talk to somebody and get information back. So I don't know exactly how they're using their plan, the Simple's plan, because I haven't used it myself. But I do know that they have this integrated into their platform. So there's other things they're doing, but they're working this inside their platform. So you have someone to talk to all the time. But I myself have used ChatGPT. So I don't know that they're using ChatGPT, but they're using generative AI to do this. Um, I myself have used it to develop meal plans. So here's what I can do is I had a thyroid issue and I wanted thyroid healthy foods. But so I asked for things that will help me keep my weight down, keep the calories down, but give me a meal plan over a 7-day period
That's
to that has low in calories, but is a meal plan that meets this thyroid need. By about week 2 or 3, I got so sick of the food on there. And I said, you know what? I actually don't like the things you're giving me. So I
yeah.
told it, I don't like this kind of food. I like pizza, burgers, um, and I like Italian food. I like Asian food, like ramen bowls. I like Indian food. So I told it what I like. I like Mediterranean food. I said, give me a diverse meal plan that meets the thyroid, but gives me that feeling that I had those comfort foods. And it did. It gave me some fabulous
Excellent.
recipes. Um,
You see
and it,
that value right there. Yeah, that is
yeah,
a that's a
and it also
beautiful.
does something else pretty well. So one of the things that ChatGPT does, and probably all the generative AI is using LLMs, large language models behind empowering them. But one of the things that ChatGPT does really well is if I'm at a restaurant, I can take a picture of the menu
Yeah,
and say, I am not at home. You gave me this 7-day meal plan. I am here. What's the best thing on this menu I can have? And it not only tells me what I can have on the menu, it also tells me, you can ask for the Beyond Burger, but ask for it without in an open face. sandwich. So only the bottom bar. So it gives me advice of how to choose that. I also can take pictures of the food and ask it to estimate the calories, estimate the macronutrients. So it'll give you the full report back of the picture. And that might seem like it's an obvious thing, but this is a really, really hard
Very.
problem that has not been broken by before generative AI in a good way. So one of our I have an invention actually that I'm part of it with a team, and we have people take pictures of their food, and we try to estimate things like the calories in the food, and that's a really hard thing to do. It's a
Yeah.
really, really hard thing to do. So
Yeah.
now it's easier. In the advent of generative AI, this is much, much easier.
Absolutely amazing. In my view, that is really step. That's where the AI can really make use of AI. Is that on the real time and ask the advice in this menu. What should I order? And then if I eat a little bit more, maybe I can adjust tomorrow. I should be not eating any food, something or maybe intermittent fasting or something. So I think that is a great way. Absolutely, you demonstrated very well where that use of obesity
I
people,
I
obese
would
people.
I would say again, just my friend Rodolfo Brango. He's a geneticist, I think, but he said this AI has just stepped in the room. Act one, scene one, AI has just stepped in the room. We still need to sniff check it. So we still need to go back. So what I do usually is I ask ChatGPT is what I've been using. I ask it, why are you telling me this? Show me the evidence. Show me which papers in PubMed.
Hmm.
Tell me where to look for so I can find the evidence behind what you're telling me.
Yeah.
We still have to do our human due diligence and sniff check whatever we're getting from any of this generative AI. So
Diana, we came a long way from last time I spoke with you, but this time AI went up far ahead of that. A lot of hallucinations went down. It is really proving beyond beyond a lot of things. Even I was surprised about that the progress that AI made. So that in the particularly in healthcare is still a slow process, but is they're slowly adopting it. But let me ask you. Now you mentioned the dietary habits. Now let us talk about the NIH funded program that you are into, nutrition AI. You're a prolific researcher in the artificial intelligence and the nutrition. So the NIH funded program, all of us, I actually interviewed some people before about all of us about that. Can you tell us all of us about it's like a 1 million people population. They want to take it and get the all kinds of data inside, right? Can you tell us a little bit about the NIH funded program, all of us program, and then all of us research program, and then your particular participation in that one?
great. That's a great thing. So let me start with all of us.
Yes.
So all of us is really an amazing study. So it is a cross-sectional study. It's a cohort study, so it's not it's collecting data from people. But unlike other studies in the past, all of us, they're collecting it from all of us. People are recruited to the study to provide information, their EHR, electronic health records. They do a battery of surveys, questionnaires. They have some measurements. Some of them contribute Fitbit data. So there's a wealth of measurements in this, all of us, and they also contribute their genetic data. So you have genomic data inside the same database. So you as a researcher can go and interrogate this database. It's open to researchers. You can register for an account, and you have to have a research question, and you go through a set of training first to get into this workbench. So you'd go to the All of Us Researcher workbench site, and they'll explain what this study is about. But I really like the training also for this study, because you understand and you think of the participants who have contributed their data as being part of the research process. They're human beings that have contributed because they want to contribute, and they are allowed to see there's a return of the results of your research that go back to them. And they can also see the research questions that are being asked. So when you apply for an account, you will have to state what your research question is, and the participants who contributed their data actually can see your question and your progress to answering that question. So that's the All of Us study, and they have a lot of records in there already. So that
This
there's
is the largest
almost
data collection of 1 million people. That their goal is. Is it the largest collection of data? First time on the large scale humans, on human data, right? Human health data that is collected. They're collecting it, right?
and the way so they have in place methods to protect the privacy and the integrity of the participants. And so you have to work in this workbench in a cloud. You cannot download the data. You work in Jupyter notebooks with R or Python inside the workbench. There's strict rules about not screenshotting individual participant data. So it's really been de-identified to a good level of they take that very seriously. Let's put it
What
that
is
way.
the purpose of this data collection, large scale data collection? What is the purpose
So you
actually?
can ask questions. So for example, I haven't asked this, but I'll throw out some questions here. If you look at something like kidney stones,
Hmm.
we do have some predictors and factors of who gets kidney stones and why. Maybe like being sedentary is one factor that's a predictor. Obesity is another factor that's a predictor. But what makes some people get kidney stones and some people don't? Well, they have electronic health records in there, so you can look by just one disease type, and then look
Yeah.
at now you have genetic information. You also have Fitbit information. You also have demographic, and you also have these questionnaires. One of the questionnaires I really love is the Social Determinants of Health questionnaire.
Yeah.
So there's several questionnaires in there that have very interesting questions on it. And so now you can really investigate factors that contribute to this one disease. I can think of other diseases. One of the cadets a number of years ago just wanted to look at breast cancer alone. So then he filtered down the data to look at breast cancer, and participants who had that data in there that he can interrogate and answer some question that he was interested in breast cancer. So there's so many questions that you can ask.
How does it useful for? Is mainly intended for researchers, or is it intended for even doctors can use in the everyday life? Hey, you have this diet. Maybe if they are from certain region of the world, hey, this data is causing the kidney stones, for example, and say, hey, change the data. This data is causing this health. Your dietary habit is causing the kidney stones. I feel that. So tell us a little bit about this new study, what it can do, what it does do, and what it can suggest to the doctors about these dietary habits itself.
So, in the past, we ran clinical trials on different kinds of diets. So, let's pick one of them. Let's pick Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean diet automatically. Let me ask you back to you, the interviewer. What do you think about the Mediterranean? When you hear the words Mediterranean diet, what do you think?
It's a healthy diet. That's what the people
Okay,
think. It
all
is
right.
good for
So,
you.
yeah, right. It's a good diet, right? And what about the Snickers diet? I
Yeah.
give you a bunch of Snickers bars.
Yeah.
All right, all
Yeah.
right. So here, what we know is that what you're perceiving is really on the average. On average, someone who eats a Mediterranean diet, on average, population-wide average, does well. But if you look at these studies on the Mediterranean diet, there's a large variability. It's just like something like bariatric surgery. Bariatric surgery has a really good outcome for reducing obesity. On average, some people don't respond well to it. And so we have non-responders to bariatric surgery. In the same way, we have non-responders to the Mediterranean diet. And
Yeah.
so, but in our
Yeah.
minds, we hear so often that the Mediterranean diet is good and that the Snickers bar is bad. I shouldn't have chose Snickers bars. I should have chosen white rice. White rice is bad. Mediterranean diet is good. But these are population averages. It's like you can think of it as, I do an intervention. I take two groups of people. One group has the Mediterranean diet, the other group doesn't, and then I look at a difference in means between the two. So that's not quite the same as you're trying to find out in that case which diet wins. in these type of studies, we're trying to explain who wins
Who
on
is
each side, who
individually
the individual, right?
correct?
And like I always say, I hope I'm the one that does well on the Snickers bar because I really like Snickers. But you know, there's things that we do, our environmental exposures, our genes, that make us up the person we are and how we react. And everybody's got that friend who can eat all kinds of things and it doesn't seem to do anything to them.
There was a diet actually when I was doing a lot of doctor business with the doctors. There was a diet came in long time ago in the 80s and 90s. There is the only proteins is like a steak. Every day they eat steak. So the guys
Atkins.
told me, my friend, one of the friends told me, "Oh, this is an excellent diet. I don't eat. I only eat steak every day." He died actually after the heart attack. So it's all this bad information coming there. They don't even know what is good for them, what is not good for. I think this study, your AI can look into this individual. You're doing a precision nutrition, right? You're doing
Yes.
individually what is good for you, and not some general, you're good for you this protein diet, or good for you, what is the name of Martha Stewart diet, whatever that, you have pre or kg stuff people there, everybody is pushing their own diets. We need to have that data available, like what you're studying, what you're doing research now. Individual precision nutrition is the key for for our health and habits, right?
And this falls under precision health too. So,
Yeah,
giving or precision education, if you want to think of, I like to think of things from education. So if
yeah,
I have a math class and the students come into the math class and I assume that let's say I know certain things. I know some homework is going to be good for this class. On average, there might come somebody who doesn't respond to that homework well, and they learn something in their own way. Some people like to, when I ask students what made you do well in my class, some of them say, well, the videos you record that helped me a lot. Some of them say, I did the homework a lot of the homework, and that made me do well. Some of them said, I just listened and pay attention in class, and that made me do well. Everybody has a different thing that made them do well. Not everybody wasn't the same. And they come into the class with a background. It's not like the first day of class, they come to my class and they all were the same. Some of them have a background where math was something that they loved, and their family loved it, and they come to my class that way. Some people didn't have that love affair with mathematics. But we treat them all, if we give them all the same thing, we give them all the same test, we give them all the same stuff, we're assuming they're all the same, but they're not. So a good teacher should find out what makes each student tick and precisely give them what they need. It's not any different.
Let me ask you that this how what are there is a lot of possibilities there, and I think some of the things that we can do is it can change the global, even people like me and small, working on the podcast or healthcare. I can come back with some idea and then implement it. That is the power of the AI that can give you big powers. I mean, yeah, I understand this is a little bit of a challenges to the AI researchers like you. I'm not a researcher of AI. I'm just a user of AI. But let me ask you one of the questions that everybody is thinking. You think we will find eventually the holy grail of cancer, diabetes, all the chronic diseases with the AI? What do you think? Just guessing. I know I don't want to put you in the wrong spot, but just a wild guess. If you do that, you think AI can help us and reduce the suffering in the world?
I do think it can. But I will say this. You're asking for a crystal ball of what's going to happen in the future. If you spun the clock back 10 years ago, could you have predicted ChatGPT?
No, not at all.
So and if you spun the clock back, could you have even, let's go back to 1980, could you have
Yeah,
predicted the internet?
no.
So it's really hard. And what my friend said, that AI has just stepped in the room, we don't know. We don't
Is it
know.
bad or good? It can be friendly or
Yeah.
cold, right? So one.
And he said, I use it every single day.
Yeah.
if you use it every single day, you'll see what it can do. And what I see that the best things that happen when I've used the most of my mind and I've combined it with the most of the generative AI mind. And we're intertwined. It's not that AI did something for me. We're doing something for each other, back and forth. And so to me, the more you come in with the better initial condition of your question, and the more thought you put into how you're interacting with this new tool, the more we're going to be able to solve problems.
Excellent, and it's a wonderful talking with you. It is really a lot of educational talking with you. It is you're truly a blessing for United States, and thank you for your service, civilian or military service. Thank you for that. I think we need people like you more and more talking about AI, and then educate all of us in the sense that, particularly in the, this is the first time people like you, mathematicians coming in the healthcare area. I really love that. That's my field. I truly love that. I think this is a time mathematics is directly applying to healthcare. You are one of those demonstrated very well. Thank you so much for joining us. The MedBricks is honored to have you.
Thank you again for having me the second time and also being very flexible with me.
MedBricks Webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges.